Hello, my name is Eduardo Labaque and I've been a software engineer for almost 11 years, mostly on the web. And today I've wanted to talk about a somewhat relatively simple subject, which is signal versus noise. Now, if you've never heard this comes from radio, technology which has been present for 100 years or something like that, certainly since the First World War, to my knowledge. In short, what's noise? Noise is when you are trying to listen for a particular frequency on the radio, you just get this white noise or nothing. That's noise. Signal is when somebody is actually broadcasting on that frequency and you can actually make out a sound or whatever is being transmitted. Could be Morse. In other words, a signal. That's where it originally comes from, and nowadays you can also just say signal versus noise in order to mean things that you're not supposed to pay attention to and things that you are supposed to pay attention to. And this is also the case for example, statistics, any kind of numbers, anywhere where you're doing any kind of analysis of something you've recorded. That's just to define the terms. Now, I wanted to talk about signal versus noise in your personal life. If you've never thought about it, it's worth thinking about it. The basic idea is, most of us, and I do include myself in this, we consume a lot of content on the internet, from movies. Video games are also content. The people we speak to, the advertisements we look at when we're walking on the street, if there are any, the magazines or the books we read, all of that is data, it's information. But to be honest, probably most of it is noise. It's not signal. If you speak to your neighbor and they give you their opinion about how you're dressing, unless you really care about that neighbor and your relationship with them is really important, it's probably closer to noise than it is to a signal from your partner, your life partner, saying they like it or they don't like it. Or your parents saying they like it or they don't like it. Even if it comes from your partner, there's a difference between I like it or I don't like it, and I think it looks good on you, or I don't think it looks good on you, or I think it fits you, or it doesn't fit you. Some of these might be more relevant for you than others, depending on what you're looking for. Now, when we consume content on the internet, almost 100% of it is noise. Why? Because it was designed to get our attention so that either it's a small individual sharing their passion, and if they're really not trying to make any money out of it, the question you have to ask yourself is it really actually relevant to what I'm trying to do right now with my life? If it isn't, then perhaps it's noise. However, if you have a hobby and this person is making content about your hobby, and you just watch them a little bit to get ideas or to get inspired or to have somebody to feel like you're sharing this hobby with somebody, maybe it's closer to signal then. But we make a lot of life decisions based on what we see on social media, on our feeds. And feeds were not designed to be signal, they were designed to be noise with something resembling a signal from time to time to keep you on the hook. If you think about it, when was the last time you actually saw something actually really relevant to your career or to what you were trying to do with your family or with your life on social media? Maybe it was recently, that's okay, but how much of it is that versus just scrolling trying to find what you're looking for? Or just trying to burn time? And almost by definition, if you're trying to burn time, you're not looking for a signal, you're just looking for noise to keep you occupied. So just consider what's noise and what's signal, and find out if maybe you could lean it a little bit more towards signal. Maybe it's not too easy. I mean, it is quite comfortable to have a lot of noise, In fact, in the modern world, I know very few people that prefer silence. Very few people work with silence. A lot of people have music. Very few people just walk in silence. A lot of people are listening to something. Very few people drive in silence. Definitely they're probably listening to an audiobook or a podcast or whatever. Not very many people cook in silence either, to my knowledge. Try to look for that silence. And then whatever you do listen to, you feel like it needs to be a little bit more of a signal for it to be worth listening to. That could be a trick.